Hi, welcome to Orientation. So glad that you made it. My name is Daniel, and I'm the Director of Visiting Angels here in the upstate area. Today's orientation isn't going to take very long, but we just go over some of the basics about visiting angels and how we operate with our clients to make the best experience for you and for them. So sit back and relax, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the other side. But if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know, and we'll be more than happy to answer anything to help make this a smooth transition for you and to give you the best caregiving experience that you can have. So, our goals for today is really nothing more than setting you guys up for success. So, to set you up for success, we want you to meet the team, to go over a few things in the handbook. Everybody has a handbook, and so to know a little bit about the standards of care, and that's going to be important so that we have consistency with the care that we're providing, and then how we work as a team together and our communication, and then let the journey begin. So let's have fun caring for people and loving on them and helping us all to do what we're meant to do, which is love on people, take care of them, and do the best we can to support them. So let's move on to the next thing, which is our mission statement. So our mission statement really isn't about so much what we do to help people, but it's really why we help people. So it's the why that matters. So at Visiting Angels, we strive to educate, to support, and provide the compassionate, professional resources needed to deliver the best care possible to families across America so their loved ones can remain independent in their home. Our central mission is restoring hope through assisting and healing the emotional, spiritual, and physical well being of individuals. We accomplish this through relationship building and effective communication with clients, families, and providers. So, if we were to boil all of that down, basically what that really means is that we're here to help family members feel comfortable as if they can really step away and know that mom and dad are taken care of, and to take that stress away from them. We're also in a position where the individuals that we're taking care of, they're compromised in a way. So whether if you can imagine this being you, whether it's that they're compromised physically, so maybe they have an illness or they have something that's limiting them, and that would be really tough to deal with. So so what we're there to do is to give them hope back and to say it's okay. We're here. We'll help you recover, whether it's just a short term from pre-op, or we'll help you recover, whether even if it's a long-term situation, like if somebody has Parkinson's disease and or ALS or cancer or something to that effect, and it's a longer-term situation. So we want to be there to lift their spirits, to help them physically with their needs, but also to give them, the thought of, they can do things independently. So what we do is helpful, but really the why we do it is what matters. And we do it because we love people. We do it because we want to share compassion and share that love with other individuals. And that's the whole point of our team. And that's why we're here. And I think one day that's what we're going to have to answer for. And I want to be I want to be just like you. I want to be on that side of things that I can say, yeah, we loved people every day, all day, and we made a difference in people's lives. And then, for the providers as well and facilities or that are referring people to us, we want them to have the faith in us and the trust in us that we're really extending that heart and doing everything that we can to love people and support them in every way that we can. So that's why we do this, and we appreciate you joining us on that mission. That's important, and we're forever thankful that you can be a part of that, and your part is never understated. You make this possible, and without you, we couldn't do this. So we are forever grateful for what you do, and thank you for joining us on this mission. Okay, so now let's meet the team. We have a big team of people that are out there helping people, but in the office, the core team, really, it's if you look on the screen, there's Daniel and Tracy, and so we're in the office, and that's my ugly picture up there, and I definitely married up when I married Tracy. So yes, we're the agency owners. We deal with client relations and talking with the clients and accounting issues and scheduling. And yes, we're soulmates, so that's wonderful too. And then there's Patty, and she didn't want her picture there, but Patty's more artistic, and she's wonderful. She is a recruiting manager. She's our office mom. She's an office person, or an awesome person. We love her. And then we also have the caregivers that are really our pleasure. They are our hands and our hearts that are out there helping people. And again, we cannot thank you and thank them enough for allowing us to serve through you. And I put on my scrubs sometimes too, but it's really special to know that there are such caring people out there like yourselves that can go out there and help people. And you are the stars of this show, so we never forget that. So even though our pictures are up there and our names are up there, we couldn't put all the hundreds of people that are the real superstars up there, which is all of the caregivers. And and honestly, we don't have the staff of nurses and therapists and all that on our team. It's really just caregivers. We focus on strictly caregivers. So you all are the star of the show. You are you're it. So you are the big show is the caregivers for us. So again, we thank you for what you do, and you are the most important part of the team. That's for sure. Okay, now the exciting part. This is the employee handbook. I'm sure this is exciting for everybody. The girl in the picture definitely looks excited, but I don't think she's opened that book yet. Anyway, the employee handbook, and this is something that you'll get a copy of if you haven't already. This should come to you by email. But the employee handbook is really how we operate. It's all of the policies and procedures that we use, and there's a lot in there. So always feel free to ask questions or to say, I can't fish this out of, 50 pages worth of a handbook. Can I just ask you a question? What do we do for this situation or what have you? So, and we get that all the time, and that's perfectly fine. Or we can send you another copy of it or whatever you need. But it's about general information, our policies, conduct policies, things like, you can't just leave the client, abandon them. That's not good. So also about timekeeping and how pay works, performance, that's important too, and anything related to the client and how we work with clients, and safety, and then things that are office related. So things like time off requests and so forth. So we'll go through a few of those, but we'll just kind of hit the highlights that are important to you. Let's move on to that. Okay, so the first thing is the general employment. And I mean, of course, we follow all of the guidelines that are set forth in all of I guess, all the accommodations that are needed. So equal opportunity. I mean, of course, this is without a doubt, equal opportunity. We don't play favorites. We definitely love all of our caregivers, and we will make any type of accommodation that we can, whether it's due to a disability. We've even had religious accommodations that are made. So we had someone that, as an example, that said that my religion doesn't allow me to wear pants, so she needed to wear a skirt, and so we made an accommodation for that. So, or if somebody, let's say, is physically disabled, but they're able to do the job, then we can make accommodations for that too. So the reporting and anti-retaliation, if you report something and let's say that it's against someone else, then there's never going to be retaliation. We can't have retaliation against somebody. We're really here ultimately to make sure that you are happy and well cared for, and that the client is happy and well cared for. And if you're happy and well cared for, and the client's happy and well cared for, look, I'm a happy guy. So it's that simple. But we're not going to retaliate, or there's a policy of anti-retaliation. No one's going to retaliate against you if you report something, because ultimately it's going to keep us in compliance, and it's going to keep us headed in the right direction as far as taking care of people. So we want to know how we can do a better job. We do offer family and medical leave. So, let's say if someone in the family gets sick, I think it's the immediate family, there's FMLA, and that guarantees you your job. So you have up to 12 weeks of FMLA that you can take and have a guaranteed job. So you can't be fired from your job or let go. But we do need some paperwork that you'd fill out and so forth. Absolutely, there should be no sexual harassment of any kind. If you ever get into a situation where you kind of get the heebie-jeebies, or if you're anywhere that you feel uncomfortable, or even if it's not sexual harassment or any kind of a harassment, um, then please let us know. We'll remove you from that situation and do an investigation. And that's harassment's not okay in any way. We do want a smoke-free workplace. So if you do smoke, just let us know, and we'll let you know where that's available for you. Also, we have unannounced visits to the home, and the unannounced visits, we call them QA visits. And the QA visits are where we would take you to the side and we'd say, hey, Sally, just Sally caregiver. So, how are things going for you? Is everything okay in the house? Is there anything you're concerned about? Should we know anything? And a lot of times we find out that maybe the client's slipping a little bit. Maybe their health condition isn't what it was. And this is a great time for us to reconnect. We also do the same thing with a client. We pull them aside and we say, hey, I just want to make sure, is everything okay? Sometimes there are little things that we find out that we didn't know that, for example, there's a time I can think of when the client was a little bit frustrated and kept being frustrated because, according to her, we kept burning her toast. So, I mean, just a little thing, but we were able to correct that. Nobody knew, but that gave us an opportunity to correct that too. So we look for opportunities to improve what we're doing with these unannounced visits. And it's sometimes we also, because we're managed by DHEC, sometimes we also have drug screens that we do. We have to have a random drug screen every once in a while. So we do random drug screening as well. So we're not trying to catch you, doing drugs or what have you, but we do have unannounced visits as well. So, and that may be a part of it, but usually not. But anyway, these are some of the general employment policies. So let's move on to the next. All right, so here are our services. So when you're looking at this saying, well, what do we do? These are the things we can do. These are our services. So it's medication reminders. So medication reminders means that we can talk to Mrs. Smith and say, Mrs. Smith, it's time to take your medications. We can also remove the medications from the pill box because they're already pre-dispensed into a pill box. So we can open up the pill box and then put them into her hand or into a little cup of some sort. That's perfectly fine. We can't put them directly into Mrs. Smith's mouth, but we can put them into her hand. So somebody's already put them in the pill box. We cannot put them into the pill box for her because that's considered dispensing medication. Whenever we take it from a large quantity and let's say a bottle of 100, and then we pull out 3 or 4 pills, that's dispensing, and that we can't do. But if it's already in the pill box, no problem. Just open it up, and we can, because it's already pre-dispensed, put that into her hand, put that into a cup. Mrs. Smith, it's time to take your medications, and here you go. And she can take that and take her medications. So there's a little bit more than reminding we can do legally, but yeah, we have a fine line we have to walk there. Again, light housekeeping, not heavy housekeeping, but light housekeeping. We can run errands and provide transportation anywhere that they want to go. If it's in your car, then there's a code that will tell you about if it's in your car that you can punch in. So track your miles, and you'll be reimbursed for your miles. So if it's in their car, of course, there's no mileage reimbursement because it's in their car. But if it's in your car, then track your miles, and when you clock out, there's a code you can use, and we'll tell you about that. Bathing, of course, we can bathe them, bed bath, kind of a wash-up type thing, or shower with a shower chair, all that perfectly fine. We can help them walking or ambulating, no problem. We can help them with meals. If they have a specific diet, please let us know. And if you need some sort of help with coming up with ideas, a diabetic diet, cardiac diet, renal diet, those types of things, just let us know and we'll get that diet plan over to you. Or we can provide some additional education for you so hey, I've been trained on what a renal diet is, or what have you. We can provide personal care, so all types of personal care, whether it's dressing or helping them with denture care, hair care, those types of things. Companionship, that's the fun one. So love companionship, and that's really meaningful. So whether it's going back through photo albums or sometimes just sitting and talking or playing games, doing puzzles. Definitely Alzheimer's and dementia care. So we have a lot of patients that we need to exercise with that because we may hear the same story 100 times, but that's okay. It's new to them. And that's where we have to exercise some patience. Um, Non-medical exercises, which means that we can provide exercises that are generalized, but that doesn't relate to, let's say, direct impact for things that would be surgical or what have you. So general exercises to keep them going, and lifting their spirits and loving them. Absolutely, that really should be at the top of the list, I think. So yeah, that would be wonderful. Just those are the things that even though we can do these things on the list, that's really the most important thing. Just loving on them and making them feel good about themselves. Sometimes it's little things like getting them up in the morning and encouraging them to put on makeup and feel good about themselves. That's amazing to do little things like that, and that makes their whole day. So little things sometimes means the world to them. Let's see, lifting their spirits, that's part of it. And then providing safety and peace of mind. That's amazing because providing peace of mind is going to be really something that is for the family. Family enjoys us being there so much because they know while they're at work that you being there is giving them the peace of mind that they can actually do their work. They can take a break and know that mom's okay, dad's okay. That's a big deal. That's a huge part of what you do is providing that peace of mind for them. Okay, so now it's on to what we can't do. What we can't do is we can't dispense or administer medication, which is what we were talking about on the last slide. And dispensing medication is when we're taking, let's say, 2 or 3 pills from that bottle of 100. That's dispensing. Administering is when we're putting it into somebody's mouth or into their body. So we can't do that. We can't provide medical procedures, which is whether we're doing anything like changing catheters, indwelling catheters that's in their body, or changing IVs, those sorts of things, chest tubes, that sort of thing. We can't lift more than 25 pounds, so we should not be deadlifting, as they call it, deadlifting a client. So if they can't bear weight, then we should not be lifting them. That's when you call the office, and then we'll take care of that. We'll talk to the client. We can't give medical advice, although it's so tempting. It's so tempting. Sometimes we have advanced training and they're going through a situation and we think, I could help them by talking to them about this. So, it's really easy to say, I've worked in the hospital for 100,000 years, and I bet if you did this, that would cure mom or dad, or why don't you try doing that? By giving them medical advice, then that's for clinicians to do, and we shouldn't be doing that because we're not considered, at least in this capacity, as a clinician or operating under that license. Even if you have the license, we're not operating under that license. So we can't give medical advice. We can't provide diabetic care. So we can't also handle money. That's kind of a best practice. So if I have a client that gives me $100 bill and says, "Can you go to the store and pick up a gallon of milk and bring back the change?" Well, I may go to the store and pick up the gallon of milk and bring back the change, but when I bring back the change and give it to the client, it's really up to their discretion and their memory as to whether or not I gave them back the correct change. So I may, walk out the door. 2 days later, they may forget that I gave them back the change. And then they may say, "Where's the rest of my money?" And the next thing you know, I mean, they might have forgotten. I mean, we're working with folks that have cognitive impairment most of the time. So for your protection, of course we stand behind everybody, but for your protection, I would say, that that's something I wouldn't want to deal with is handling money because it's a he said, she said type situation. And then also we can't work privately for the clients. So they might say, well, why don't when you're done working on the clock for visiting angels, why don't you just do this off the clock? And so we do have a non-compete while you're working with us, a non-compete that you can't work with the client directly um, for a couple of years after working with visiting angels. But it also is really, really tricky. When you're working with clients privately, you're taking on a ton of liability that you probably don't even know about. So if anything happens, they can sue you directly um, and so forth. There's a lot of liability that you don't know about, most likely that we've seen throughout the years. But if you have any questions on what you can or can't do, just give us a call. It's no problem. And if you are faced with any of these things, what you can do is you can always talk to the client and say, Mrs. Smith, hold on for just a second. Let me call the office and I'll be right back with you. And then call us. And if it's something you can't do, then we'll jump on the phone with Mrs. Smith and say, Mrs. Smith, I am so sorry. Maybe that's my fault that I didn't explain that properly, but Sally's not able to do that according to our policies. And this is why. But if you need that to be done, that's not a problem. Let me help you find somebody to do that, and we'll find a solution for them. So that's okay. I just want to make sure you're not having to face them and say, no, 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 or put you in an awkward spot. So that's what we can't do, and that's how to handle it. Okay, well, the next is conduct policy. So basically, with our conduct policies, this goes over things like, well, what can we do, what we can't do, and a lot of times it's tricky. I mean, I was a caregiver too before I went to nursing school, and it's tricky when you're in a home. I did private duty, and it's tough because they can ask you anything. They can ask you to paint the house, and you know jump on your head and hula hoop on the moon. You never know what they're going to ask you. So, so we want to stick within the guidelines of our services, and because that's what we're covered for as far as our insurance and so forth. So things like light housekeeping, not washing down walls and so forth. That's not light housekeeping. So if you have any questions about what's light housekeeping, let us know. You can even call us and let us know. If you're at the client's home, that's okay too. Call us and say, hey, is this light housekeeping? And we'll let you know. And if it's not light housekeeping, then we'll intervene for you with the client and let them know that that's not on the services list of what we do. But we'll be happy to get somebody that can help them do that. And that's part of what we can do, can't do. So you probably should know that by now. But if not, as far as your interviewing process and the hiring process, what we can do and can't do. But if not, we can go over that with you. The scheduling, then yep, scheduling is handled between you and the scheduling coordinator. So we'll have a schedule for you, and it's based on your availability. And so if you can't work the schedule, then that's okay. That happens sometimes. And just let us know as soon as possible. Um, we do like to have introductions where you can go out and meet the clients, and that's ideal. If you can go out and meet the clients, that would be wonderful. Sometimes if we don't have time to do that because the schedule is quick or it's a fill-in situation, we might not be able to do that. Then there are also client boundaries, and what that means is that just like I was saying before, where they can ask you to do anything, we have to know that there are certain limitations that we have. So, for example, we want to keep and maintain boundaries with clients so that it's a healthy boundary, so that we're not taking them to withdraw large sums of money from the bank, as an example. So because that puts you at risk, they could say, well, I took out $10,000 and now it's missing. Well, let's keep a good boundary there. Or going over after hours and doing work for them, those types of things. Dress code, it's scrubs, just plain scrubs. We have the visiting angel scrubs, but But you can also wear plain scrubs without any kind of pattern to them. Incidents, if there is some sort of an incident, then we have on our portal, we have an incident report form. And so the incident report is where you would say, hey, this happened at the house. It doesn't mean that it's your fault. It's just something happened, or you heard that something happened. For example, you come in one day and the client says, oh, I'm in such pain. I fell last night, and something happened. You can see the bruising, let's say, but you weren't a part of that, but it happened. Then you can note that as an incident and fill out an incident report. Or if something happened while you were there. I mean, you may be in the kitchen preparing a lunch or something, and then your client falls while you're in the kitchen, or something happened. Who knows what could happen? I mean, millions of different things that could potentially happen, but anything that's outside of the norm, then you would fill out an incident report. We can show you how to do that. It's the same thing with the time off request. If you have a time off request, you'd fill out a form, and that would come directly to us. Training, we can provide specialized training for you if you'd like. We do have ongoing training, but we can provide specialized training. If, let's say, you're with a client that has a lift, then I definitely want to go out and train you on that lift so that you know exactly what to do with that kind of a lift. A lot of people say, well, I'm certified, I've used a Hoyer lift. But what that might mean, and this might not be you, but what that might mean is, yeah, I'm certified, but I haven't used a Hoyer lift for 20 years. But I've used one maybe 20 years ago. Or it's a different kind of a lift. Maybe it's a different kind of sling. So I want to make sure that you're well versed in what we're doing there as far as the equipment, so that you don't have any problems or don't have any issues, or you don't feel that, oh, I don't quite know what I'm doing, but I think I can figure it out. Let me just go out and train you, and then you don't have to worry about it. So no problem. Happy to do it. Just want to make sure you're comfortable and happy, and they're comfortable and happy. Receiving gifts, you can receive gifts from clients. That's perfectly fine. They just need to fill out a form saying that it's okay for you to get the gift. So that's okay. Whether it's a Christmas gift or just, hey, you're doing a great job, that's no problem at all. We just need that they fill out a form, so that we know that there's a difference between a gift and theft. Not that you would take anything, but that they can't later come back and say, well, or a family member can't say that's missing, and and mom might have given it to you, but there's no record of her giving it to you. This way, it's just, oh yeah, mom gave it to her, no problem. Okay, here's a form we can present. Again, about the drug screening, we do drug screening before hiring and then after hiring. And then your personal information, I would just limit your personal information to the clients and to the families. For example, if you give them your phone number, which we discourage doing, they will call you, and they will call you at all times of the night. And that happens. That happens or has happened in the past, and that's very unpleasant because they'll call you and try to schedule directly with you, and that's not good. Scheduling needs to go through the office, but so we would not want your personal information going to them. Okay, so let's move on to the next screen. Okay, so now it's scheduling. So when we have schedules, the way that we get schedules is that we meet with the clients first, we talk with them, they sign up for service, and they have scheduled needs. And then what we do is when we're scheduling, we then offer that schedule to you. It could be based on your availability, based on your skill set, and then it could be maybe something that's close to you, and then also based on your personality. So if we think you're a good fit for this family or this individual, and then when that happens, then you can say yes, you can say no. It's up to you. We're offering it to you, so it's not you must do this. And that's one of the advantages of working with us, is that you have flexibility with your schedule. So you're not being told you have to do this. It's being offered to you. And then when you're scheduling or you're working with us and there needs to be a change, or you hear something from a client that, hey, look, I don't need to come in tomorrow, or whatever that is, then definitely call the office or have the client call the office. that avoids a lot of confusion, because if you're scheduling directly with the client and we don't know, then that's going to affect your paycheck, obviously. So because when we think you're there, if you're not there, even if you and the client have discussed this, if you're not there, we get really concerned, because you're supposed to be there according to to what it is that we know, and so we're thinking that you just didn't show up for work, and then we're calling the client trying to figure it out, and we're in a mad panic, mad rush. And if the client doesn't answer the phone, then it's okay, well, we need to find somebody else who can go. So we're trying to schedule a second person to go over and see this client, because maybe if they didn't answer the phone, they might have just been in the bathroom, but maybe they're stuck on the floor. Maybe maybe there's a real problem, and we just don't know. So that causes a real panic on our side. And but if you're working over and it's just between you and the client, then that's not going to be on your paycheck. We don't know. So anyway, to avoid confusion, just include us on the loop of that, and have all the scheduling go through us, and we'll make sure that you're aware of the schedules. And we have the schedules that are going out to you guys automatically every week. So reminders are sent to you. And then if you need to be off, there's a time off request form we were talking about before, and just let us know a couple weeks in advance if you can, or as soon as possible if you're not feeling well. Right. So when you're offered a schedule, then these are some of the things that you'll be told when you're offered a schedule. So if we call you and say, "Hey, Sally, here's a schedule that we have that's open," and and then with that schedule, then you'll know things like it's a male or a female, a smoker or not, that they have pets. Um, if there's pet care or not. We also will let you know what level of care is needed. So what are the specifics about what's needed at the house, what's needed with that person, and then where are they located, the hours, the pay rate, if it's anything that's different than the normal pay rate, and then what the family dynamics are. So sometimes every family is different. We have situations that someone may have a very loving, very kind, very supportive family, all the way to the place where someone's just by themselves and alone, and they don't have any family at all. And that's sad, but that happens. I hate to say that, but that does happen. So it's good to know what you're walking into when you're there, and we'll have already been there, so we know all these things. And then what the specific house rules are. As an example, don't come through the front door and enter through the garage door, or they have a key in the lockbox and the code is this, or whatever the case may be. So there just might be some house rules, that type of thing. So anyway, that's what you'll know. You'll know everything about that. It'll be also on a care plan. We can send you that plan of care so that you know what needs to go on when, all the medications, the emergency protocol, everything will be there on the care plan for you. And then at that point, you can let us know, hey, this is something that sounds good to me. The schedule's good, location's good, the family sounds great and supportive, and it sounds like the skill set's a good match for me, and I think this would work for me. Let's give this a shot. And so that might work out really well. So we can send all that to you, so you have all of that as part of our plan of care. All right. So assuming let's say you accept that client, then the ideal scenario is that there is a client introduction that's set up. Now, with the client introduction, we've tried this so many different ways, but this is the best way that it works. The first thing is that we want to meet the visiting angels representative. So let's say if it's myself, you and I would meet ahead of time. Trust me when I say we don't want to meet at the client's house, because you don't know what you're walking into, for the first time. And then if you're running late, I'm there, trying to figure out what's going on, and that's kind of an awkward situation. And you may be just trying to find the house. So the best thing is really just to meet at a common location away from the house. So, hey, I'll meet you at the QT parking lot. Over here, or whatever that is. Then the second thing is after we meet, then it's just talking for a few minutes about, remember, here's the care plan, here's who we're going to be meeting, and this is what we're going to be, talking about at the meet and greet, and so here's some of the, a reminder about here's some of the dynamics about this case, and so forth. Then at the QA, which is the step number 3, they're going to start asking you questions about you. How long have you been a caregiver? Why are you a caregiver? Those sorts of things. So they're trying to understand about who you are and if you're a good fit for their mom or dad. And so you want to also ask questions. Things like, well, tell me about your expectations, and can you tell me about your mom or dad? I see here on the care plan that it says that you want things to be done this way. Boom, boom, boom. Can you tell me more about that? Can you show me where the cleaning supplies are if you want me to to mop the floor, as an example, or can you show me the kitchen so I know where the food is or the pantry is? Those sorts of things. So then at that point, once you're there and we're in the QA, or not QA, but we're in the introduction, then number 4 is the client connection. Really, really want you guys to sit close to the client, eye contact, just try to become friends with the client. That's above all things. That's what everyone's looking for is there a friendly connection? Is there something that's going on there that the client's going to be open and accepting, and you're going to be open and accepting? So if you were meeting somebody to take care of your mom and dad, you'd want somebody who was engaging with your mom and dad, not somebody who was just a robot answering yes or no questions. So somebody who's going to be engaging, caring, loving, that's the best. So that's what an introduction is. Then after the introduction, um, I would I would leave with you, see if you have any concerns, and if you have any concerns, then we could kind of go through those concerns and see if those can be modified. Or most of the time, it's just a, hey, that was great. Everything worked out really well. I think this is going to go great. And that's probably 95% of the time that everything on both sides works out really well. But you feel good about things normally before you start care, and they feel good about things before care starts. So it works out well for everybody. So now you're there and you've started care, and everything seems to be going well. And there seems to be, on an ongoing basis, there seems to be a struggle that takes place. And this is where the boundary discussion comes in. There is, on one side, there's the compassion and the love, and you really want to give everything to this client. I mean, after all, we're caregivers because we care. We're caregivers because we love people. But there can be, if that's taken too far, there can be a tendency to be over involved. So an example of where over involved may be, or how that might look, is, I gosh, I really need some work to be done around the house. Oh, well, my husband can come over and he can help you with the work around the house. So the husband comes over and everything seems to be good. Well, that'll only cost you $1,000. Okay, so then they're paying $1,000. And then, I want to bring my kids over so you can meet my kids and my dogs, since we've talked so much about the kids and the dogs. So it's kind of crossing over the line from um, being personable at when you're with that person, to really being over involved, or trying to kind of edge out the family. So, I don't like this family member and they're doing this person wrong, so I'm going to start talking junk about that family member to the other family members, and that sort of thing is also crossing the line. So that's where you get over involved. You may have those feelings, and I've had those feelings myself, to be quite honest with you, but I don't engage in that, because at the end of the day, that's family, and I do the best I can for people, but that's family. So that's kind of the over involved. So staying there, loving the person, caring about the person, absolutely being compassionate. That's what we're there to do. But just to be careful not to get over involved, because that always ends up bad. Then on the other side, it's it's being careful not to be under involved. So it's a tricky balance, which means I'm just there to do the job, to punch the clock, to do the tasks, but not really to be compassionate. And some people kind of tip in that direction too. So it's, look, I've got things to do in my personal life, and I'm going to call out a lot because, when I have things to do, it's just, I've got to go renew my driver's license, and that's just coming up, and the holidays are coming up, and I've just got to I got things to do with that too. And look, I'm really sorry if it just happens to cut into my time at work, and it's just somebody else will have to just pick up that shift, and and so when you're under involved and there isn't that compassion and that ability to see how this is affecting them, then and that's where bad things happen too when you are under involved. So there's a really tricky balance between the two to say, I love this person, I care about this person, I'm compassionate, with this individual, and at the same time, I also know that things need to be done to maintain the home and to maintain this person's independence, but I'm not going to fall so deep into the overboard of getting involved with the family and getting involved with their personal lives and business and everything else. But I'm also not going to just say, well, it's a job and whatever. I can just find another client, get another job. No big deal. So there's that balance, and really, it's just loving a person enough to know that if you hold to those professional boundaries, you can still be compassionate and love somebody in those boundaries. But it's a hard balance. But if we can help you, just let us know. We've dealt with this probably thousands of times. So, but if you find yourself on either side of this, just let us know. We can help to kind of give you some advice and help you kind of tip back into to what they're supposed to be. Okay, the next thing is dress code. It is kind of interesting if you look at how people are dressed. Um, it's a crazy thing, but people will treat you the way that you present yourself. So if you present yourself like a professional, people will treat you like a professional. If you present yourself like a kind of a friend of the family who's coming over in jeans and shorts and flip flops and those types of things and not professional, you're not going to be seen as a professional. So, so what we want everybody to do is to be seen as a professional. So, because we believe that you're the best of the best. So to be the best, that means you also have a persona. You also have a look that says that, yeah, I'm professional and I know what I'm doing, and that you should be treated with respect, which we completely believe. So we want to treat you with respect. We want everybody else to treat you with respect too. So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's kind of like with my kids. With my kids, it's like I love my kids, and I treat my kids well, and I want everybody else to treat my kids well. And so, um, and even though, I mean, obviously caregivers aren't, my kids. I'm not trying to say you guys are my kids, but I'm kind of protective. And so when I look at one of our team members, it's I want you to be treated well. I want you to be treated with respect. I want you to be treated with the respect you deserve, and I want you to be treated as the professional that you are. So part of that is the way that you're dressed, and so these are some of the on the bottom of the page here. Some of the things that we've identified that will give you the best result for being treated as a professional and respectfully. And it's scrubs. So we talked about scrubs, closed-toed shoes, so not the flip-flops, having your name badge, and having the any kind of piercings other than the ears, and then the dangly hoops. That's really more so for your protection. Um, Dangly hoops can be very dangerous when you have somebody who is confused and you're trying to, let's say, roll somebody in a bed to do an occupied bed or occupied bed change, uh, something like that, and they're trying to hold on, or they get scared. That can rip right out of your ear. and clean clothes, also personal hygiene. So not having scented lotions or perfumes or colognes that are really heavy. I mean, I like a good smelling person just like everybody else, but light, I will say that. So, not to be one of those people that, they walk by and you're like, oh man, wow, that's hurting my nose. Um, and and then we can also provide you guys with business cards. So they're just, kind of general business card, but it can have your name on it so that you can present with a business card, and that's professional. So these are some of the things that will show that you're professional. And my hope is that with these things that you'll be treated as professionals and with the respect that you deserve. All right. So the next thing is the caregiver portal, and we do have a portal that you can use. The address of the portal is portal.scvisitingangels.com, but I think you'll get a handout with that. And in the portal, there are all kinds of different forms that you can use and education you can look at, but these are some of the basic things people use a lot. So you can have the incident reports. So if anything happens, if there's a change of condition, so maybe there's no incident, but you just noticed that, Mrs. Smith just isn't acting right. There's something going on here. So I just want to report that to you guys, but I want to do that in writing, not just a phone call. And so there's a change of condition, time off request. So we do have that time off request. So you can request time off a couple weeks in advance. We talked about the gift form. So hey, a client wants to give me a gift. Fantastic. We're not here to discourage that, but we just want to make sure that it's seen as a gift. If there's a payroll discrepancy, so let's say you think your payroll is wrong. This doesn't happen very often. Tracy is really accurate with payroll, but let's say that there's a payroll discrepancy, and I mean everybody's human. So if this does ever happen, believe me, it's unintentional, because we do not like messing around with people's paychecks at all. But if there is one, then we want to know right away, and we'll make that correction right away if it needs to be made. So we'll take a look at it and make sure that your pay is right on target. And if we need to make a correction, we will make that correction ASAP. Education's there all the time, so you can have access to videos and handouts and you name it. So let's say, as an example, where this can come in beneficial is I have a client that I'm working with that maybe has a stroke, and I want to know a little bit more about a stroke. It's been a long time since I've been trained on a stroke. Maybe I just need to brush up on that. Then you can go into the portal, look under education, and there you are. You have information on a stroke. There'll be videos, handouts, all kinds of things you can watch just to look at education about a stroke. The payroll change, if you decided that, I don't want to check anymore, I just want that to go right into my bank account, then there's an ACH authorization. ACH stands for Automatic Clearinghouse. And basically what that means is that it can just go right into your bank account. It's automatic deposit is what that is. So you can use the ACH, or you can say stop the ACH. It's up to you. Also, you can upload documents. So maybe your insurance is due, and you can upload documents there and say, okay, well, I'm going to upload a document here, and maybe upload that document so I don't have to come to the office or send it, through the mail or whatever that is. But that's all part of the portal. It's all available to you 24 hours a day. All right, then there's drug screening. I think we covered this before. We do have a random drug screening policy. We need that according to DHEC. That's a requirement for us to do. And I think we talked about that before in the orientation. But yeah, we have to do the drug screens. So that's part of what we do. So that's done frequently. I will say that. And with the drug screening policy, the way that it works is that we do have a 10-panel drug screen that we use. It's urine based, so that means just make sure you you have good aim, and then we'll have the drug screen done with a 10-panel screen, or at least at the time of this, it's a 10-panel. And then if there, for some reason, if there's a dispute on that, then or it comes back positive, we'll ask you for medications that you're taking and try to clear you that way. So if, let's say, if it comes back positive for, I don't know, benzos or something like that, then we'll say, okay, well, are you on any medications? And if you say, yeah, I'm on medications, then say, all right, well, send us a picture of your bottle with your name on it, and then we'll research that and see if it's going to trigger, a benzo. Sometimes it does. If it doesn't, we'll take the sample and we'll put that into another drug test. I mean, maybe the test was bad. Maybe the actual bottle thing was bad. So we'll try it again. And we'll put that same sample into another bottle and see if that one comes back any better. And if that one still comes back positive, then the next thing that we do is we go for a hair follicle test, which that's the last step. So that would be, hey, look, I'm not taking any drugs that shouldn't trigger, for this benzo thing. Then say, all right, well, let's go for a hair follicle test. That'll take care of it all, and then we'll know for sure. So, but that's a drug screening policy. Also, we have drug screens that we do after any type of um, adverse thing that might happen. So let's say if there's an incident, then with that incident, we may very well drug screen you after the incident. And that's really just to prove that you aren't on any drugs while the incident happened. So that's really for your safety. So nobody can say, well, who's to say that she wasn't taking drugs during that time or he wasn't taking drugs? It's like, well, I can tell you that she wasn't taking drugs or he wasn't taking drugs because we did a test and we know for a fact that he or she wasn't taking drugs. So that's really for your safety. So anyway, that's our drug screening policy. And it's pretty simple. You don't need to worry about anything. We will just call you and let you know, it's time for your random drug screen. And that's about it. So, but that's our drug screening policy. Okay, so this is a big question we always get asked, which is, what about the pay? How does pay work? And the way that works is that your time is recorded when you clock in at a client's house and you clock out at a client's house. And that's done by clocking in and out from the client's phone. Their phone's programmed into our system, and you have to clock in and out from their phone. If you go from client 1 to client 2, then the time in between those clients is paid, and that's at minimum wage. Most companies don't pay at all, but we want to pay you in between the clients, and then we also will pay you mileage between the clients as well at 36 cents a mile. So again, this is just kind of an extra thing that we do. Most companies don't pay for that. It's just something that we do just because we want to make sure that you're treated fairly as we can treat you. And we think that's just a good policy to have. And that's what I would want if it were me. So let's see, we do have overtime. Overtime's anything above 40 hours. And we do have different pay rates for clients. Sometimes we'll have this, we're phasing out, but we do have different pay rates for different types of shifts. So as an example, if somebody's there overnight and their overnight is what's called a sleep shift, then a sleep shift means you can go there and you can sleep. You literally can sleep. They'll call you when they need you. Then the pay might be a little bit less than somebody who's working during the day, and they have to be up and attentive and there and working all day long. So that, because they're working and attentive all day long, as opposed to somebody at night who can get paid really just to sleep, which is great for students. And I did this when I was in college. So it pays a little bit less to do that. So pay can vary, but we're kind of getting to the place where we're phasing that out. Payday is every other week on a Friday. So it's every 2 weeks on Friday. And there's a week holdback. So in other words, it takes us about a week to process pay. So if on payday, on that Friday, you're not paid for the week that is a payday week. So you're paid for the week previous. So there's a week holdback. And some people have said, oh, you mean a week in the hole? It's like, oh, okay. I don't know what that really meant, but I've heard that several times. So but okay. So you can be paid by check or by your automatic bank draft or automatic e-check that goes into your bank account, which is the ACH, which we talked about. You also have the ability to change your W-4 anytime, so you can change your deductions anytime that you want. And if even if you say, hey, look, I want to change my deductions and I want to increase my deductions so I get more in my check, or I want to decrease my deductions so I can have more taken out and put towards taxes. Either way, it's up to you. We can't guide you with that, but we can definitely change them for you anytime you'd like. Just let us know. All right, so now we get to the basic expectations, or these are the basic 12 expectations. First one is that we are on time to our shifts and that we stay for the full shift. So, in other words, um, not to leave early because the family's counting on us and the clients are counting on us to stay for the full time. Even if the client says, hey, look, go ahead and leave, check with us first before you just decide to leave. Because maybe the client's okay with it, but maybe the family's not because they're expecting somebody to be there for a certain amount of time. If you need time off, that you give us a couple weeks notice, that you're in dress code, the scheduling is only with the office. And again, a lot of these things we've already gone over. So that your schedule, that your documentation is correct. In other words, you're just not fabricating your documentation, that it's correct. That you complete all the tasks on the care plan when you're there. So, if you're there and today's the day to change the bed sheets, as an example, or to prepare a meal, that you would do those things on the list. If you have, which is number 7, if you have a need to do anything extra, give us a call so we can say, yeah, okay, you need to do this extra, or this is outside of the care plan. Cool, no problem. You can do that, but maybe we need to add that to the care plan. Maybe that's something that needs to be added so that the next caregiver knows about that as well. Then obviously there's HIPAA, so we want to keep things confidential and not tell client 2, oh, sorry, I'm running 3 minutes late. I just left Mr. Smith's house. Mr. Smith down the road? Yeah, well, he's got Parkinson's disease and took a little bit longer for him to take a shower because, his wife she's going through such a hard time. She's got cancer. She goes to the cancer center and she was running late coming back from a treatment. And it's like, oh my gosh, HIPAA would just have a heyday with the violations on that. So and you are, even though you're working with a company, you are personally liable for HIPAA violations when it's spoken uh, from you personally, and that's a big deal. Not to discuss pay, so that's another thing. To clock in and out from the client's phone, so that we can record your pay. If you don't clock in and clock out, it's very hard to get your pay accurate. So make sure you're clocking in and out. We want to make sure your pay is accurate. That is super important. Also, that affects the billing as well. So if your pay isn't accurate, and let's say that you needed an extra 2 hours for some reason one day to your paycheck, and if that happens, and that's okay, if that happens, we can make any adjustments. But keep in mind, we also need to make adjustments to the billing. So if you say, oh yeah, 42 weeks ago, I need to add an extra 2 hours. We got to go back to the client and say, 42 weeks ago, we got to bill you an extra 2 hours. And they're going to say, what are you talking about? She wasn't here. And then it becomes a big thing with, well, they're saying that you weren't here. Are you sure you were there? And so it goes into this big thing again. So using the phone to clock in and clock out is really important. Then 11 is reporting incidents. Again, not that anybody's getting in trouble. It's just that we need to know what's going on. And then number 12 is just generic. It's following the policies, which that's pretty straightforward. So that's the basic 12. Oh my gosh, we're almost done. You're getting there. Congratulations. We're getting there. Okay, so this is something that's important that I thought would be good for you guys to know, just because from my perspective, from your perspective, from everybody else's perspective, what's said and what's heard is completely different sometimes. So these are some things that that really truly have been said that 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 I have experience with over the years, And it's kind of one of those, if I could write a book, these are the things that might be, in that book. So if I was a caregiver and I said, my uncle's getting out of jail, I'm so excited, then the client hears, oh my gosh, I'm not safe. So next, if I said, I'm so nervous, my mom is sick, then the client might hear, you're contagious. Why are you here? You're contagious. What? So you come from a place of sickness. I might say, I just came from Mrs. Smith's house and, which again, we just talked about, it's a huge HIPAA violation, but they might hear, you're unprofessional and you're going to spread my information to the next person. So if I'm a caregiver and I say, oh, that last caregiver, they blah, 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 then you're talking all kinds of smack about the last caregiver, then they're going to hear, oh, your team, you are not on this team. You are just wrecking the morale of this team. Um, if I'm a caregiver and I say, oh, yeah, here's my phone number, and then they're going to hear, oh, I can call you and not the office, and I can call you anytime. Oh, great. Give me that phone number. Sure. They might even ask you for the phone number. They probably will. And then if I'm a caregiver and I say, I didn't have a sitter, I had to bring my baby. Yeah, their head's going to literally just explode. And like when you step on a spider and how those little spiders just come running out, that's what's going to happen. Their head is just going to explode. So I just need you to hear that even though you might be coming from a good place and thinking these things are really good, uncle getting out of jail and didn't have a sitter, but you still wanted to come. You may be thinking of, yeah, I'm dedicated. They're not thinking that that's what's going on. They're hearing things in a very different way. So you may be thinking I'm just being friendly. Uh, they may be thinking about why they're going to call the office and say, I don't want you back. So these are things that are worth mentioning. So I want to bring those forward. Anyway, so whatever you do, don't think about your head exploding. All right, so now we get into some of the basic performance policies, such as being prompt. So basically, it's arriving on time and remaining until the end of the shift. So we talked about this. Being reliable is important, believe it or not. Seniors don't like to change things. They like things to be solid. They like things to be consistent, reliable. So consistency is big. I've been with Visiting Angels over 20 years, and in my experience with Visiting Angels, one of the first questions that I get every single time that I'm in a client's house is it going to be the same caregiver? Is it going to be the same caregiver every time? I don't want somebody else to come in. If it's the same caregiver, I just want the same caregiver. And it's probably 95% of the time, that's one of the first few questions is it going to be the same caregiver? Is it consistent? So that reliability is huge. So when you're calling out from a shift, to you it's no big deal because you have a very full life. Well, I shouldn't say you have. That's assuming, but a lot of people think it's not a big deal because you've got things going on. I mean, you're much younger. Gosh, you might have kids, might have things going on that you just need to get done. To them, it's a huge deal. So they probably don't tell you, but they get very very frustrated because it's a new person. They have to train a new person. They feel unsafe. They feel as if you're unreliable a lot of times. And so when we're looking at how we're treating them and how they interpret that, that's a huge deal. So, being consistent, even if it's, I know I'm going to be out, let me call the office and let's renegotiate that visit. That's much better. So if you know that you're going to be out and you say, gosh, next week I have something going on, I know I need to, I think I used this example earlier, I need to get my driver's license renewed. The only time they have available is when I'm going to be working with this client because I'm working with them all day, let's say. So I need to leave earlier. I need to switch a day. I need to, whatever that is. You can always call the office. Then we can call the client and say, Mrs. Smith, Sally has something that she cannot miss. I'd like to see if you're available maybe on this day instead of that day because she really can't miss this. And as you know, she works consistently this day or these days, these times, but she just can't miss this thing. Is it okay if we switch her for a different time? And then if she says no, then really that's becomes a her issue, because she has the option then to say no, I'll take a fill in. But she may say yes because she wants the consistency. So not to harp on the point, but that's a huge issue. Boundaries we've already talked about. Communication, you can communicate with us about anything at all. Um, Clients want you to be competent in what you're doing. If you don't feel like you know what you're doing, don't do it. Just don't do it. You don't have to say, I don't know what I'm doing to the client. All you have to say is, when you get the care plan, I feel uncomfortable with this. Can you train me? And we'll train you on how to do what you need to have done. So that's no problem. Uh, we can even go to the client's house with you and train you on the spot. So we can do that too. And as far as smoking, we've already talked about that. We can figure out a way for you to smoke if you're a smoker, but our general rule is that it's prohibited on the client's property. But contact us, let us know, and we'll figure that out. If you're a smoker, we need you to follow the plan of care for sure. If there are deviations, and there are sometimes, just let us know. Yeah. Always be respectful to the clients, and know that their way of doing things may not be ours, and that's okay. And with your cell phones, oh my gosh, please stay off your cell phones unless it's an emergency at the client's house. Um, it is crazy how we think they're napping and how we think that they don't see us, but they see us. Like, they see us. So they know when we're on our cell phones, and they see us. And we know that they see you because they report it right back to us. They'll call the office and they'll say, well, Sally was on her phone 3 hours and 20 minutes when she was here out of the 8 hours. And I don't think it's right that I got to pay for 8 hours worth of care when she was on the phone for 3 hours and 20 minutes. I just think I should just be paying for 4 hours and 40 minutes. How's that sound? And because she was on her phone the other time, and they know that's one of the biggest complaints that we get is she was on her phone all the time, the whole time. So they do see that, and they do call the office. So if there's an emergency, absolutely, absolutely. But we're there to engage with them, and to help with them. So I just would respectfully ask that we stay with them and love on them. That's the time we get to make a difference in their lives, and it's really their time. And you know, it's 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 almost like we're taking from them to be on the phone, and we're not there to take from them. We're there, to give from them or to give to them. So that's and honestly, TikTok can wait. It's all the same. Don't mean to break it to you, but I'm on TikTok too, but it's all the same. But anyway, so just wanted to let you know. And Candy Crush, okay, never going to beat it. So let's just stay off our phones while we're there, and then when you leave, and you're back at home, rock on. But that's a big one. It's also a big one too. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, we talked about this already. This is patient confidentiality, and so confidentiality or HIPAA. We shouldn't be giving out any information. So, when you think about this, it's like, okay, well, great. Well, what information do I need to know about? What's confidential? That PHI or protected health information. That's anything that can identify that patient. That's confidential. So even though you may not say Mrs. Smith down the road, if you say, oh, the person at 103 Main Street, they're going to know. It's a way to identify them. The power of attorney. Power of attorney. If someone comes in and says, I'm power of attorney, let's say it's a daughter, which most of the time it is in these situations. I'm the daughter and I'm the power of attorney. If that client has a cognitive deficiency, they have Alzheimer's, then sure, that daughter has every right to make those decisions within the scope of her power of attorney, whether it's medical or healthcare power of attorney, or if it's general durable power of attorney, whatever that is. If they don't have any kind of cognitive decline, then that's a different issue. Then because a power of attorney is only enacted when somebody cannot make decisions for themselves. Breach of HIPAA. HIPAA is serious business. So when I said, this can also be something that's personally, it comes back on you personally. There are personal fines up to and including jail time. So that is absolutely correct. So be careful of that. Just don't give out any information that you should be giving out. So the patient bill of rights. So they can refuse care. A patient does have the right to refuse care. They don't need to do anything while we're there. They can refuse care. Now that doesn't mean that if we don't want to give them a shower, we shouldn't just say, Mrs. Smith, you don't want to take one of them nasty old showers, do you? It's cold and it's just wet and you could fall. So, and then, oh, no, they refused. Well, they refused. So we don't want to do that. We want to encourage them and, oh, you'll feel so much better. And so that doesn't mean that we can't continue to follow up with them. And because we know it's going to help them, we know they're going to feel so much better and we know that it's healthy for them. And even though they have the right to refuse, that doesn't mean that we can't come back and reapproach them later with it. So, so I would just kind of offer that we should be doing things to help them, and then again, down below there's the same discussion about power of attorney, and with the patient rights. So patient rights, even if a power of attorney says, okay, this person, mom is incapacitated or mom has, cognitive decline, and I need you to give her a shower. We cannot force somebody, kicking and screaming into a shower. Honestly, I don't want somebody to do that. I don't want you to do that. That just, I don't know. This, even though that might be a good thing, I think as far as for somebody to take a shower, I don't want to be the kind of company that is going to do that. Our team should not be doing that. We can find other ways. If it gets to that place, please give us a call. There are so many other ways to approach somebody than doing something against somebody's will. I mean, we should be loving them through these things and not forcing them through things. So if you do run up against roadblocks, please give us a call without trying to bulldoze our way through things, because that's not right. But again, everything we do, we should be approaching with love, kindness, respect for everyone. So anyway, so let's move on to the next. Okay, and so now this is just a simple quote. It's the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it takes place, or that it has taken place, by George Bernard Shaw. We want to make sure that we're communicating with you guys and you guys are communicating with us and that we're part of a team. There is no us and them. There is simply a team. So when there's something going on, we want to make sure we're communicating together. So always keep us in communication, or keep in communication with us, and we'll keep in communication with you. We are here as a team to work together to show this community love and compassion and support. So if we are working together, I mean, think about it. If there was no caregiver to provide the care, we could not serve our mission. Even if my heart was as big as the universe, my hands could not physically serve all of these wonderful families. I just can't do it alone. So I need you to help me with this mission that we are all on as a team. So communication is the only way we keep that cohesive mission together. And you communicating back with us and us communicating back with you and keeping that communication strong, that's the way that it works. That's the way the team moves forward. That's the way we keep this mission alive. Without it, it all falls apart. So please, 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 you cannot over communicate with us. And we're available 24 hours a day. We're always on call. And I just know from my experience, you guys are great when it comes to communicating back. And we communicate by text, by call, whatever you need. If you need it, call and ask for it. We are here. If families need it, whatever they need, call or have them call us, and we are here for them too. Even if it doesn't relate to us, call, have them call, let us know. We're here to support you, and we're here to support them in any way that we can. We love caregivers and we love families. And so we're just here to love everybody that we can. And that's the mission. So again, thank you for being a part of it. But uh, we just want to communicate with you as much as we can and make sure that we're all together on this team. Okay, Daniel, I got the vision. I'm all pumped up. So when do I contact you? When do I contact our team? Well, you can contact us anytime. But here are some things that a lot of people contact us about. It's when you have questions about the client. What do I do now? What do I do with this? What anything with the client. You have concerns about care, families, medications, treatments that are being provided. Let's say you've got physical therapy coming in, and they're saying this, and or you have a change in condition. Oh, I don't know what happened, but came in today. Mrs. Smith just is acting off. Something's not right. Um, or you can't find the client's home. Maybe it's just a quick fill-in situation, and oh my gosh, and you can't find the client's home. Yeah, don't just give up and turn around and say, well, forget about it. I'm going back home. No, give us a call. We'll guide you in. I mean, I've been on the phone with somebody for half an hour guiding them into the right place, and they're on the dark side of the moon somewhere, and we need to kind of guide them back into where they need to be, and and that's important. That's important because it can't feel good to be lost. So let us help you. If you need time off, that's okay. Just communicate, and if there's changes in clients. Their condition, we've talked about that a few times, call, send in a form. So again, if you're asked things that you shouldn't be doing, call. Specifically, if you're being asked things you shouldn't be doing, give us a call and we'll intervene. Anything else? Anything else you have questions about? Give us a call. We're here. And speaking of calling, so it's, here's a quote from Jennifer, a caregiver. One thing I can tell you for sure is that I love my Visiting Angels family. They listen and they're always there to help. They've got my back and I have theirs. I'm so thankful for Visiting Angels. That's my fam. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Jennifer, it's your birthday. We're going to party. So that's what I'm saying. So that's what we need to do. Here to help one another. Alrighty, peeps. So now it's how do we reach the office? How do we call? Well, we're on call 24 hours a day. So anytime you need us, then this is the information. You'll have this information already, but this is the information as far as how to call. Most important thing to know is our number. It's 244-6300. So 244-6300 is the number to call if you need anything. So just give us a call and we will help you anytime, day or night. Wrapping things up, we've got a referral bonus. So we love you guys, and we know that you probably have some awesome friends just like you who are super cool caregivers. And we have a $50 bonus. So if you have a friend that you think might be just as awesome as you are, then we have a $50 bonus that you'd qualify for if they just apply and start working. So if they're here and they apply and start working, then you can earn a little extra as they come in. So they would just go to apply.scvisitingangels.com, and if they apply and we know they're coming in from you, so let us know, then that's all that we would need to do. So your friend can be an amazing part of our team, can help with our mission to love other people. You get to work with your bestie, which is awesome. And, you both can make a difference in people's lives, and you can refer any number of people. So unlimited number of people. So, they have to be alive. So you can't put referrals in for people who, it's just like voter IDs. Can't do that. But they, if you know some good caregivers, we sure could use some good people on our team. That's for sure. So again, apply.scvisitingangels.com, $50 bonus coming your way. And the last thing, woo, welcome to the team. So we set a high standard for employees that we consider for hire, and congratulations, you've met the standards, which is fantastic. You should feel good about yourself, which is great because we certainly feel good about you. And now it's time to shine, time to be the awesome caregiver that we know that you are. And you have completed orientations. So now it's on to your new hire paperwork and to loving on some people. So congratulations. And again, I'm Daniel with Visiting Angels, and I'm more than happy to have you on the team. And if you need anything, it would be an honor to help you in any way that I can. So looking forward to it. And you have survived the orientation. Thank you so much. Again, welcome to the team, and look forward to speaking with you soon. Welcome, welcome, welcome.